Hello and welcome to the Independence Show. I am Independence and here we are on the Freedom Network. Today I am so humbly excited to be here with Richard Wright, the author of Black Boy. Fabulous book, I must tell you. So, Richard, it's quite a pleasure to have you here. My first question is, in your opinion, what do you think makes a person independent? Your book has demonstrated very much so about how you've been independent in what you've done. So in your opinion, what do you think makes any old person become truly independent?
Well, I think independence is very important to all young people and older people. And I think what makes someone independent is just like doing stuff on your own, basically. So for me, I lived on my own for a little while with Miss Moss and her daughter, and I had my own job, my own food, and I just basically lived on my own and been independent. And that's how all people should be, because you feel very good with yourself when you know that you can pay for your own things and be on your own.
So in addition to what you've told me about being independent and what makes a person independent, were there any specific obstacles that you had to face that were quite tough for a young boy such as yourself?
Well, for me, I lived with a single mom, so she taught me how to be very independent and do things on your own. But in that family, I got abused a lot, and I didn't really like that. So that made me even more want to leave and go do stuff on my own and not be with them or around any of that stuff. But when I was independent, I went and did stuff on my own and got my own jobs and got my own food, and I relied on no one but myself.
Okay, so Richard, by the end of your life in the book that you wrote, how did you ultimately feel overall? Did you have a feeling of maturity or satisfaction? And also, what advice would you give to young kids that age that may be struggling to find their independence and accomplish that? What advice would you give them on what they should do and how to think?
At the end of my book, I felt like I did accomplish a lot. I mean, I worked on my own, I got my own money, and I became very accomplished. And during the book, I matured a lot. I came from an abusive family, and then I went to my own job and buying my own food. Like I said before, I lived on my own basically, and I did my own stuff. And for kids these days, I would just say for them to be independent, just do stuff on your own a little while. Like, don't make your parents pay for a lot of stuff. Just say, oh, I got this and stuff. And it'll just be good, and you'll be very independent, and that's how I feel about independence. Here we asked Miss Moss how she met Richard.
Hayseed, I went outside and I asked him, might as well just come on in, it's cold outside. So he did, and he told me that he was looking for a vacant room to live in. He was by himself. So I offered it to him and he accepted, but he said that he can only pay a certain amount. So I negotiated with him, and he said that he would pay me back once he had a job. So I noticed then on that he was a very responsible guy. So.
All right. So you've been throwing around the word independence relating to Richard quite a lot. What exactly has Richard done to demonstrate his independence and his coming of age growing up?
Even from the beginning, I thought that he was a very independent young boy. Some of the ways I feel like he was independent maybe were that he focused a lot on his studies. he read a lot of books. I know that he wanted to succeed in his education. Another way was that he he would eat dinner sometimes alone. I know that there was this one time when my daughter caught him eating beans inside of his bedroom, and I was like, well, what's the point of that? You know, you can have a nice family meal here. And he wanted to eat beans in his room. So, I mean, he just seemed very self-sufficient. He had his own job. He came here by himself. That was basically it. I just got that first impression of him.
So it sure sounds like you had a really great boy living in your house. So if I had asked you the question, what, in your opinion, makes somebody independent, what makes them become that level of maturity, you would say that Richard has exhibited every single step in order to get that ultimate independence of where he is at now.
I'd say absolutely. Just in my eyes, he was just very independent from all the examples I had given you. It was actually, I was glad to have him in my house. I would wish that one day he would be a part of my family. And I would hope one day to see him down the street and hope everything is well. So that's basically my opinion on him.
All right. Well, it was great having you here.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming by. And we will be right back.
The following presentation is brought to you by Freedom TV Company. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Independence and we are back, and I am sitting here with John W. Taylor, the man that came up with the Missouri Compromise. So, John, what exactly is the Missouri Compromise and why did you come up with it?
I myself wanted no slavery at all, so that the slaves or the people of that kind could be independent and do what they wanted to do. And so I compromised and I said that we'll give you Arkansas if you let the rest be no slaves.
So, after making this fantastic Missouri Compromise, what did you see yourself doing in the future to acquire more independence for slaves or other certain people of America at that time?
Excuse me. Okay, well, I just didn't want slaves. I mean, people would whip them and they control them, and I just said to myself, these people should be independent and living on their own, and they just shouldn't be treated that way. So then they should make their own choices in their life and not have people control them. So I just said, I'll try to make this compromise and see what I can do for all the people, and that's just how it went.
Well, it was very nice meeting with you today, Mr. John Taylor, and we will be right back.
You should go buy Richard Wright's book, Black Boy. It's real good.
So I'm here with Abraham Lincoln. Hello, it's nice to have you here. Why are you against slavery?
I feel like I am against slavery because, you know, just because of the color of their skin, I feel like they're just like everyone else. They have a soul, they have a heart, they have feelings, and what we're doing to them is completely wrong, and I just don't agree with it at all. They're humans.
Yeah. So you sound like a very successful and thoughtful person. What did it take for you to become so independent and having your own thoughts and feelings on certain things?
I feel like running for president really did make me independent. Campaigning and everything, you know, I come up with my own ideas for everything that I do, and just basically growing up made me very independent, I'd say.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank you for watching the Independence Show. Tune in next week as we talk to George Washington about his independence.